So all that Christ offers us is delivered by faith. That's why we need to examine the mystery of faith that grants you and me access to this beautiful, wonderful inheritance that we have in Christ. Remember, let him ask in faith, or let not that man think he shall receive anything from God. Nothing comes down from heaven except by faith. As free as salvation is, it comes down by faith. Every provision in redemption is only deliverable by faith. Without faith, it is impossible for you and I to access our inheritance. And we have a sevenfold, all-embracing inheritance in Christ. Think of it. Power. Think of it. Riches. Think of it. Wisdom. Think of it. Strength. Think of it. Honor. Think of it. Glory. And think of it. Blessings. There is nothing anyone is looking for under the sun that's not covered. Everything that makes for life and godliness is embracing there in that one verse. And the truth makes it available. The truth makes it available. So tonight, I'd like you to be very sensitive, because God is up to something about your life. I have often said there is no mountain anywhere. Every man's ignorance is his mountain. There is no mountain anywhere. My Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge of the truth is what makes a victim. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. And Isaiah chapter 5 verse 13, he said, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. They are gone into captivity. I've done all I needed to do, but they are robbed of everything for lack of knowledge. They are held in captivity for lack of knowledge. So I strongly believe that tonight God is opening a new chapter to many of us sitting down here. The truth will always triumph in any place. Always triumph in any place. The truth will always triumph in any place. What is faith? Then we can begin to look at the stronghold of faith. Faith is clearly the most potent force in all the universe. Faith is the most potent force in the universe. Why? If thou canst believe. How many things? All things are possible to him that believeth. How is faith the most potent force in the universe? Because it confers divinity on humanity. Jesus said, unto man this is impossible, but not with God. For with God all things are possible. And he said, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believes. That means when you are operating by faith, you are operating in God's class. Mark 9:23 and Mark 10:27. When you are operating by faith, you are operating in the very class of God. Jesus said, whosoever believes in me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do. So faith confers divinity on humanity. Whosoever believes in me, John 14:12. The works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do. So faith empowers us to operate in the very class of God. Faith empowers us to operate in the very realm of God. Faith empowers us to handle what only God could handle. This is so important. And With that understanding, then we begin to find out why is faith so powerful and the saints appear so powerless. If faith is so powerful, why are the saints so powerless? Something must be wrong with what we call our faith. Something must be wrong. If faith is that potent, why are we so impotent? Now, faith is not a mere biblical principle. Faith is our access to the power of God. Romans 1:16. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believes. So faith is not just a biblical principle. Faith is a spiritual means of empowerment. We are empowered by faith. The woman with the issue of blood went after Jesus, touched the hem of his garment, and Jesus said, power is gone out of me. And he said, thy faith has drawn power from me, it has made thee whole. So faith draws on the power of God to impact on our life. Faith is not just a biblical principle, it's a spiritual platform for empowerment. When faith is at work, power is being released. Power is flowing. Power is bringing about changes. So faith is about empowerment for triumph. Faith is not a principle we try to use. Faith empowers us to command results. That lady was made whole by her faith, drawing virtue from Christ. So every time your faith comes alive, virtue flows from Christ to make you whole. Faith is not a religious theory. It is a mystery of the kingdom. 1 Timothy 3:9, he said, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. So faith is not a story. Faith is a mystery. And what is mystery? Mystery is a kingdom secret that gives you mastery. Kingdom secrets that confers mastery on your life. I have often said, I'm not so surprised that we are saying what we see today in our ministry. I would have been surprised if we didn't see them. That means I was too sure they were coming. I was fully persuaded by the mystery of faith that they were coming. I knew far back in 1982 that we're going to build a sanctuary that will see 50,000 people. So whatever we saw in the process is not important. I knew we were going to build a 50,000 seat auditorium. Why? God said so. I knew. While we had only one little rickety Volkswagen Beetle, I knew we were going to be flying as far back as April 1982. Why? God said so. I'm coming. I'd like you to please understand this, that we are not serving a fake God. We are not serving a fake God. Every time faith comes alive, God's integrity is committed to deliver. He said, what if you believe not, yet he abides faithful, he cannot deny himself. Faith is not religious logic, it's a spiritual weapon. He said, above all, taking the shield of faith, and you'll be able to quench all the fiery darts of the devil. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 16. Faith is not a religious logic. It is a spiritual weapon. Faith is not a biblical philosophy. It's an ever-winning spiritual force This is the victory that overcomes the world, even our faith. It's an ever-winning spiritual force. Faith is not a biblical philosophy. It's an ever-winning spiritual force. 1 John chapter 5 and verse 4.